crafty friends, and welcome to a new series on my channel. I'm calling this one Keeping It Speedy, and this is heavily inspired by my friend Heba. She's My Little Journal on YouTube, and her Instagram name is just her name. I'll tag her in the description box, but she does this thing, this 15-minute challenge where she makes a whole layout in 15 minutes. And the idea behind setting a timer for a scrapbooking layout is it's to stop you from second guessing all of the smaller choices, the ones that we agonize over and over, like, do I use pink? Do I use green? Where do I put this embellishment? So the thought process behind this was you give yourself 15 minutes and you have to finish your layout in that 15 minutes. So I thought that that was a great idea. And so I messaged her and I asked her if she minded if I borrowed it, and she didn't. Oh, so the glare from that is crazy. Let me fix this. I want to make sure that my timer is where everyone can see it, so you guys know I'm not cheating, but I don't know where to put it so it's not in the way. So I might not be able to put it. I can just put it on this side. You still can't see it, but whatever, we're gonna go for it. So she does her 15-minute scrapbooking challenge in a traveler's notebook, and that is a really accessible size, I think, for this type of challenge. Like, I think it'd be hard to make a 12 by 12 in 15 minutes. But doing a traveler's notebook spread is really easy. So to avoid cheating, so you guys don't say that my layout took more than 15 minutes, I only did two things before I turned on the camera. I cut down a piece of cardstock to 8.25 by 8.5, which is what a traveler's notebook would be when it's cut in half. I cut down a scrap of vellum, and I typed up my journaling. And I typed it on an old electronic typewriter so that it didn't add, like there was no like Photoshop time. There wasn't any like, actually, I don't even know how I'm going to attach this to the journaling card, so I'm not going to cut it up yet. There was no like Photoshop time. There wasn't any like turning on machines and doing any sort of designing. Like, literally all I did was put a scrap of vellum in my typewriter and take 2 minutes. So if you guys want to add that to my time, you can. But I put this in my typewriter and took 2 minutes, and I printed a photo. So as far as prep goes, I probably spent 3-4 minutes top on prep. I printed a photo, I typed my journaling, and I picked out some supplies. I have some stuff from the Flourish collection because I know I want to use some florals because I'm scrapbooking a picture of flowers. And then this card is from Ali Edwards. I have no idea where because I've already sorted my Ali Edwards stuff. And I have all of like my chipboard from Ali on my desk. I don't know if I'm going to use it. I do know that I'm not going to do any stamping this time around because that might be a little ambitious because I'm not good at stamping, and it doesn't make sense for me to spend 15 minutes fighting with my stamps. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm not going to do this chit chat style because I have to really focus to get the 15 minutes. I'm going to open my iPad, have my timer set. So I'm already set for 15 minutes, and I'm going to get to work. So we'll see what I can come up with in 15 minutes, and I think this will be really, really fun. It'll be something to do ongoing, and hopefully it inspires you to stop second guessing the small stuff and get those stories told in meaningful. Oh, I will tell you what my journaling says before I start. It's really short. It says, because this card says bring on the self-care. My self-care right now looks like this. And I wrote, self-care looks like making time for joy, for the flowers in my own garden, artificial or not, for hope, for peace, for color on dark days, and for finding the light wherever she's waiting for me. That's all I wrote. It's a really small story. And then these are some pictures. These are some flowers that I picked when I was at Michael's a few weeks ago. And then you guys will see. I have kind of an idea for this, but I'm not, like, I didn't want to super storyboard it because that defeats the purpose. The purpose is just to stick things down and go. So I have kind of an idea, and we're gonna play, and that's it. I'm setting my timer now, and now we go.
All right, crafty friends, so let's switch gears for a little bit. So I am going to attempt to narrate the next 15 minutes of me working on this layout. And you see, I haven't sped this up at all. This is real-time footage, so you can see exactly what you can get done in 15 minutes if you stop second guessing yourself and you just pick things up and stick them down as they go. I kept this super simple. This was just a way to play and to use up a bit of the things in my stash. So originally, I was going to try to see if I could flip that vellum piece over that had my journaling, like leave a little bit of excess on and flip it over and stick it to the back. But that was making it really bulky. So instead, I just decided to use my tiny attacher and staple it down on both sides. And this was just the easiest way to get my journaling down onto that card. I have a tape that I can use for vellum, but this was just easier because one, I couldn't find that tape and I had 15 minutes and I didn't want to waste time looking for tape. I almost couldn't find my tiny attacher, to be perfectly honest. So I was really worried that I was wasting time looking for the tiny attacher. And if you guys heard how I was freaking out over these 15 minutes, because I kept compulsively checking my time to see how much time I had left, because I was just like, oh my goodness, this time is going so fast. So here I just picked out a bunch of the floral die cuts from the Flourish collection. This is all I had left from that original pack. And again, part of the reason why I wanted to do this challenge is because this was a perfect way to use stuff up that we've had forever. Like, you guys, let's stop being paper hoarders and start being paper users, because if we bought this stuff, it's because we wanted to use it to get stories told, not because we wanted it to collect dust in our scrapbook areas. And I know I am not the only one who holds on to things forever and ever because it's just too pretty to use. You guys, get it on the page. That is the purpose of this, to get things on pages. So I literally grabbed I think like 7 or 8 large florals and arranged them in a diagonal across the page. And like I said in my intro, all this stuff is from the Flourish collection. The background piece is a 12 by 12 paper that I cut down to Traveler's Notebook size. And you'll see towards the end that I actually did not cut it down properly. And there was a little bit of a debacle getting it in the book. And it took some finagling and some finessing to get it in the book. But I eventually made it work. So now, see, now I'm checking the time again because I'm freaking out, and I'm just going. So I'm just sticking these flowers down in the diagonal that I laid it. And I'll tell you a little bit about the photo that I'm scrapping. I was, a few weeks ago, I had a case of the, I don't even know if it was a Monday. I had a case of the Mondays on whatever day of the week it was. And I had gotten out of work really early that day. And I went to Michael's because I go to Michael's when I need to pick me up. Like, I feel like everybody knows what brings them joy when they're having an off day, and Michael's and being around paper and crafting supplies makes me happy. And I needed a few things to use as backdrops for my photos anyway. So I went and I grabbed some flowers, and I took a picture of myself for Everyday Selfie Love in the floral section, and then I picked up a bunch of florals. Like, I had picked up some eucalyptus leaves and some tulips and some like carnation sprays, and I had it all in my hand. And I took a picture of it, and it made me so happy, you guys, just being around color. And even though it was artificial flowers, like, who cares? The bottom line is we're planting flowers wherever we are, and we're blooming wherever we are. And it doesn't matter if it's real flowers or artificial, things are growing. And just looking at the flowers just made me realize that things really are growing in my life. And it made me feel so much better. And yes, going to Michael's might not seem like a radical act of self-care, but for me, that's what it was that day. And that's what I'm documenting. So I'm documenting the floral spray that I picked up at Michael's. And I already read you my journaling. It was on a card from Ali Edwards that said self-care looks like this. It was one of the stories by the month kit cards. I think it was the August card. So if you go back, you can still get the digitals for that particular kit. And I love that card. I actually have the digitals of that kit because that card is my favorite, and I'll probably use it over and over. So here we go. I'm still working on getting my flowers down exactly the way I want it. I am panicking because I'm spending so much time trying to arrange this floral spray. But part of what I was struggling with was that yellow flower has a stem and a leaf, and none of the other flowers are big vertical elements. Like, the rest of them are horizontal or just, general like circle shapes. And then that big yellow flower has that stem and that leaf, so it makes it a more vertical shape, and it was throwing off my design. I added a few of the vellum leaf sprays to the top. So I added that big gold one to the more top right. And then I added the bigger black one to the bottom left just to add some more texture. I love vellum. Vellum is one of my, I mean, if you've seen me scrapbook before, you probably know this, but vellum is one of my favorite textures to play with. I love including vellum everywhere I can. I think it adds kind of a softness and a dreaminess to your layouts. Just because it's see-through and it's a completely different texture from the rest of the paper, and it's so much fun to play with texture. So here we go. Now I'm cutting it in half. I ruin it for a little bit because I didn't actually stick that gold vellum. I'm sorry that I'm off frame for a little bit of this. I think it works out in the end, but I was like freaking out about how much time that I had left, that I keep forgetting to make sure that I'm in frame. So you can, for the part, you can see what I'm doing. But I cut it down and I almost ruined it because that gold vellum leaf that's now on the left side of the spread, it picked up a little bit under the trimmer blade and I almost like cut it and jacked it up. But it worked out just fine. And again, I'm very glad I'm doing this voiceover style and not live, because the amount of like, oh my God, I'm running out of time. Oh my God, what am I doing? Tashiana, get this together. Like, I was giving myself talks while I was working on this, which is not the most like conducive way to have a fun scrapbooking session. I will not do that next time because I can clearly get something made that I love in 15 minutes. It was just the time constraint really made me a little antsy the first time, but I got it together and I'm really happy with what I made. So this large vellum piece is from the Flourish. This was the official ephemera pack. The flowers were from a secondary pack, but this piece was from the official, I don't want to say official, but it was just from the die cut pack. And it says love makes everything grow, and it's also on vellum. And you can see that it's kind of see-through, so you can still see the flowers and everything else in the background. And it just felt like the perfect title for this spread. Also, I'm kind of cheating because since I only have 15 minutes, I don't have to like use like alpha stickers or stamp something down and waste my time putting together a title when there was already a title ready made for me. And because I'm putting this in a ring bound album, I'm not as concerned about dimension as I would have been if I was in a normal traveler's notebook that you have to keep relatively flat. Like, because this is a ring bound album with a spine, I think the spine is 1.5 inches. There's a lot of space to like add texture and dimension, and so I'm okay with piling things up. Like, I use a fair amount of chipboard. So what I'm doing here is trimming down my vellum, because I originally cut it down to 3.5, and then I remembered that I wanted to put it in one of the 3x8 pockets that Ali Edwards offers. The other good thing about this, the Citrus Twist Life Crafted album, is the ring configuration is the same ring configuration that Ali Edwards and Studio Calico uses. So you can like mix and match page protectors. So the page protectors that come in this are 4x8, I want to say. It's like close to 4x8 because it's supposed to be like TN size. But you can use, if you have like 3x8 page protectors from Ali Edwards, those fit in this album perfectly. So I had to trim my vellum down so that it would eventually go in the 3x8 pocket from Ali. And then what I did was I stuck my photo down and my journaling right away. And I used my T-square to do it because I wanted them to be exactly on the same size, the same height, I guess, the same height on both sides of the vellum, because the vellum is see-through. Now, that makes that like completely goes out the window, because then I end up embellishing this and adding a bunch of other stuff, so it doesn't really matter because now you can see through it on both sides. But it was really important to me that the photo and the journaling, the big 3x4 elements, are the same height. And now I'm just going ahead and embellishing my insert, because for the most part, the big, like the 8x8 paper with the florals and everything, for the most part, it's finished. I go back and I eventually add a few more elements because I have this thing, if you've seen me scrapbook before, you know that I have this thing about repeating elements. So if I use chipboard on one side, I have to use chipboard on something else. And so I go back and forth and I add a few things here and there. But for the most part, the background is done. So I added that butterfly and that leaf to the top of my photo. And I kind of added it like off the page, so I had to trim off a little bit of that butterfly. And if I was not rushing, I'm not rushing, I'm taking my time. But if I wasn't under a time constraint, I might stop to like panic about the fact that I'm cutting off a bit of this butterfly. But I gotta tell you guys, having this timer and this 15 minutes was a little bit freeing, because there are so many things that I normally worry about when I scrapbook that I just didn't worry about this time. Like, it was literally, do I like it? Do I love it? Pick it, stick it, go. So I added a bit of chipboard. I want to say that was from the Heart Story kit from Allie, but I'm not sure because all of my chipboard, if you've seen me organize my stuff, see, there you go, I'm checking my timer again just to make sure I haven't run out of time. If you saw my Instagram stories, you would realize that I popped out a lot of my chipboard out of the original kits and I separated stuff because I wasn't using it up. So I'm pretty sure that's from the Heart Story kit, but I'm not 100% quote me. And then since I had the butterfly on the top hanging off the page, I added that big heart to the bottom to the opposite side of the vellum and cut it off just like I did on the top. And so now there's two elements hanging off the page, and I think that makes it look more balanced and it makes it look like I did it on purpose and not accidental. And then since I was able to cut off so much of that flower, I added to the top of my journaling on the back side of the vellum because there's no reason to waste that like beautiful bit of paper. It adds some color. It's the colors in the spreads. All I'm doing is repeating colors and repeating textures on both sides of that vellum insert to kind of balance it out and make sure it looks like it works. And then I'm adding more chipboard. So the chipboard that I actually pulled this piece from, this was from the August Stories by the Month kit, the same kit that I got the journaling card from, and it was a perfect teal color. So I'll tell you what the sentiments say. I'm pulling up my picture so I can tell you exactly what the sentiments say. So the pink one, sorry, the coral one that I added, it says, "This story is full of heart." And then the green one that I added on the bottom says, "Making the most of it, open heart one day at a time." And I loved the sentiments that just said heart, so I kept adding that. And then the colors worked perfectly. I had that coral and then that mint green. I'm adding a pink chipboard to the side with my title. It's just a circle that says "this," and again, this is just so I can keep repeating elements. That is my main motivation. If I have chipboard on this insert, now I have to add chipboard on opposites, like on the outsides of my background, just to tie the whole thing together. This is just a crazy thing I do to make sure it works. Now I'm like, okay, I still have time left. So this is when I like breathe a little bit because I realize I still have time left and I can keep adding stuff to my layout. So eventually, I realized I want to put something on the bottom left side. That's what I was highlighting. Like, I'm trying to figure out what would work down there. I had that chipboard semicircle. I don't love it. I'm trying to figure out what I can add over there because it just feels really empty and I want to embellish it a tiny bit more. So actually, what I ended up doing, so I pulled out that chipboard that says "With My Whole Heart." It's another coral piece. All the colors matched so well, you guys. Mixing the flourish line with these chipboard pieces I had from Allie worked out so well. And since I had all these sentiments that had heart, I went in my Allie Edwards chipboard box that has all my heart embellishments, and I realized I had all these gold foil hearts from, I want to say it was from the Heart. It was either from the Heart Story kit or from For the Love. I think it was from the Heart. It's from the Heart Story kit, and they're all these like wonky hearts with gold foil. And since I already had gold foil in the layout, it made perfect sense to just add some more gold foil. So I grabbed a white one that says "Love This." And then I grabbed a kind of mint green one that said "Today," and I just add the hearts. So now I'm trying to figure out how I can make the hearts work. And this is where I start panicking because I realize that I'm adding stuff to my page and I'm running out of time. And I'm spending time looking for supplies and trying to narrow things down. And that is exactly what I did not want to do. So I'm like, I take a moment, I like center myself. I'm like, Tashiana, stop digging through these hearts. Just grab one that works and stick it down. So I grabbed that white one that said "Love This." And I kind of stick it behind the flowers and I let it hang off because I have the hanging off element on the vellum insert. So I feel like it just works perfectly. And then I add that chipboard over where the heart and the flowers meet, and it's just kind of tying, it feels like it's tying everything together. And I love it because it says "Love This" and then underneath "With My Whole Heart," so it feels like a sentence, kind of, if that makes sense. Like, it feels like it's a more cohesive element. And then I go ahead and I add the "Today" heart, and same thing, I let it hang off the side because one, it was too big and it was going to cover my journaling if I didn't let it hang off the side, and two, I've been doing it on all the other like elements in this page, so it just made perfect sense to go ahead and do so. And after that, thing I do is I go hunting for one more sentiment. And I remember, like, I was listening to me chit-chatting as I was working on it before I started editing the video, and I freaked out because I had 18 more seconds, and I was just like, I have 18 seconds to find something. So I ended up pulling out that chipboard from the Surprise Story kit that I've used on a few other layouts. I grabbed that yellow piece that says Hold on, let me check my picture. It says best moment. So best moment today. I lay it over the heart and I call it done, you guys. And I can't believe I got this done in 15 minutes, but it was such a blast. It was such a blast to work on this, and I cannot wait to do this again. I had so much fun making this, and I'm going to stop talking now and switch back to the rest of the video.
You guys, that was, wow, that was a rush. I don't know if you could tell, but I was like compulsively clicking on my iPad to see how much time I had left. And I literally put that last chipboard element down in the nick of time. Like literally, as I was looking at it and I had 15 seconds left as I was looking for one more chipboard phrase. Yeah, so I got it done, you guys. I'm not going to talk too much about my process because I'm going to voice over the part where I was silent. But I am actually super enthused. Like, I'm really happy with what I made. So here we go. I will, again, I'm not going to talk too much about the process because I'm going to voice over that bit in the middle. But here's the layout. So here is my flowers. It's going to be on a vellum piece. On the back side, I have my journaling, and then I have this piece that says love makes everything grow. I'm going to get page protectors to put it into my album because I didn't want to waste any time where I could have been making something looking for page protectors. So I'm going to go ahead and grab the necessary bits. All my 3x8 page all my 3x8 page protectors lives in this album that I bought that I have yet to figure out what I'm going to do with it. So it's just it's a fun place to keep all my page protectors for this size. And then the album that I'm going to be holding this in, this is from Citrus Twist Kits. It's called their Life Crafted album. It's pretty much supposed to be a ring bound traveler's notebook. And I'm pretty sure I measured these right, but now they're not going in, which means I didn't measure it right and I gotta trim a little bit down. Hopefully I don't have to trim a little bit down because otherwise okay, yes, it's going in. It's a tight fit, but it's going in. Okay, so that's one side. Oh no, okay, it doesn't fit. I gotta trim it down. Okay, you guys, so I'm back. So now here it is. Here's what it looks like in the album. So if I take this out, I kind of have like the base of the notebook. So it's kind of like an 8x8 spread with my title and some of the embellishments. And I mixed some stuff from Ali Edwards in with the stuff from the Flourish collection. And then here is my photo and my story. And I wanted it to be smaller so that it kind of hangs out from both sides. So that's it, you guys. That's the first episode in Keeping It Speedy. It's gonna take me a while to get that together, but I hope you enjoyed this little segment. I'm going to try to keep doing these. This will help me fill up this Life Crafted album, and I think it'll just be fun. And maybe next time you guys can like pick, maybe you can pick what products I use or pick what types of products and see what I can get done in 15 minutes. So I hope you enjoyed this. Till next time, keep it crafty, friends. Oh, before that, please consider giving me a like, a comment, and subscribe. And that's it for housekeeping. So until next time, keep it crafty, friends, and have the best day. Bye!